Welcome to another crochet vlog. This is Nicole Bandis with Off the Hook Crochet, and hi Farah. Okay, so today I was going to update you on some of my current whips and just talk a little bit about crochet and yarn and all of that good stuff that we just love to talk about. So come on and join me and we'll check out what's going on. First up is my status on the Great Crochet t-shirt experiment. And if you've been following along, you know that this is the second t-shirt of this tried, tied, and true pattern that I've done. And the first one I used Knit Picks Stroll Effects, and so that was kind of a wool with just a little bit of nylon in it to see how that worked up. Now I am using the Hobie cotton in the three different colors. This is the baby cotton mercerized. I'm also using the 8-4 mercerized, which are pretty close, pretty similar, but not identical overall. So I'm just kind of doing a little bit of a stripe pattern on this, and I apologize in advance if there is fur all over all of my projects. This is a very pet-friendly home, and I have a husky who it's that time of year where she's just shedding her winter coat. Obviously, the weather is warming up, so both of us are kind of getting used to that. And it is accumulating all over my projects. So, fortunately, I have very good defur devices that I use on a regular basis to get a little bit of the fur off. But never apologize for being pet friendly. I love pets. They're amazing. So anyway, I have gotten down now to the point on this pattern where I've joined to create the sleeve. So you can kind of see there's a sleeve there, and I'm just doing the body in the round. So I just keep going around and then around and then around and then around and keep going around until it's done. Now, I did notice the first time that I did this pattern that the back has a tendency to get kind of all bulgy until I washed it. And once I washed it, it turned out looking great. So I'm hoping that the same result with the cotton, that it kind of settles in a little bit. And I haven't woven in any of these ends yet. But I'm really hoping that it settles in just a little bit, very similar to what it did the first time. So let me know, what do you think? Do you like the way that I did the color patterning on that? So the purple, a dark gray, and then a light gray, and then a dark gray, and then a purple, and I'll just kind of keep alternating that. Purple's my color. I love purple. Anything I can do in purple. It's kind of that color that when I go yarn shopping, I'm like, I don't need more purple, but it's so pretty. So yeah, so that is this project. And I recently discovered, I was going to share this tip with you. I recently discovered using organza bags. One of the other YouTubers does this, and I can't remember her name. I'll link to her video below, but she talks about how to organize her projects, and she talked about using organza bags. Now, before I've used just plastic bags, but I don't know. I kind of feel like it just feels a little cheesy, and it's loud and obnoxious, and I love the idea of special bags for all of my projects, and yet I want to be able to see what's inside of them. So these organza bags are absolutely brilliant. You can get them on Amazon. I'll link It's going to be an affiliate link, but don't worry, it doesn't cost you extra. I might make a couple of pennies off of it, but it does not cost you any extra. But I love the idea of using these organza bags for projects that aren't like big blankets or something. They're just so much fun. It just kind of gives it a nice, it feels like a gift, right? Yes. And the other thing I was going to tell you while I'm at it, even though this is a baby cotton mercerized, it's 100% organic Egyptian cotton, I am still finding that while I'm using it, I'm getting a groove in my finger. So I've solved that problem. I crocheted myself a little finger sleeve. Can you see that? Is that not adorable? I literally just put it on, and then the yarn goes right over that. Now I could use a ring, you know, one of those rings that helps you, tension ring, that's the word I'm looking for. But most of the tension rings I found are designed for right-handed people, and it doesn't work quite as well on my left hand, on my right hand, because most people wear it on their left hand. So I tend to not end up using those, whereas this, it just gives a little bit of a cushion. Now this is some extra fingering weight yarn. I tried first, I was like, oh, it needs to be really cushy. So I actually put two strands of worsted weight together. It was way too fat. So then I'm like, okay, well, maybe one strand of worsted weight, still way too fat. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to go down to the bare minimum. And I had some of this fingering weight. I just did a chain that was long enough to kind of stretch from here to here. And then I did it all the way so that it had enough, it was tight enough on my finger. And then I just seamed it right up there. That's all I did. Just a single crochet onto the chain that's long enough to kind of cover that length of your finger that you want covered. Now, you do want to make sure that it goes far enough past your knuckle, I found, because when I did it shorter, the yarn would just kind of fall off the edge of it. So it does need to be long enough to kind of go past your knuckle there, and then it works great. And this is perfect. It just works. And it's not just the cotton, to be honest, it's the thinner yarns. But I like the garments with the thinner yarns, so I definitely wanted, I'm not going to stop using those. I just wanted something that was going to kind of keep that finger indent from happening. So, okay, that's the first whip and the status on the Great Crochet T-shirt experiment. Next up, I did finish this week. I am on this kick. I'm making these headbands and attaching them to hair bands so that they're stretchy, and that way they kind of fit over my head and keep my hair out of my face when I'm working out. And so I'm just doing different patterns. This is actually a star stitch pattern. It's this one's not perfect, and I'm not sure how much you'll be able to see that print or that pattern. Hopefully you can kind of see that there, but it's actually a very, very lovely, very basic, simple pattern that works perfectly. It's the perfect width for a headband for what I'm looking for. You can certainly do wider ones, but for what I need, this is absolutely perfect. And now that I've sort of kind of figured this out, I may do a tutorial on how to make these. Let me know if that's something that you're interested in the comments, and I will kind of prioritize that. And if you have any other ideas for videos, let me know those too. Okay, the next ongoing, and I don't know if I've shared this with you yet. I sort of got it in my, about a month or so ago, I'm like, I just need a project to work on when I don't have anything else that is calling to me, or I kind of get bored with what I'm working on. So I started doing the a granny square blanket. And I said I'd never do a granny square blanket, and here I am doing a granny square blanket. Now, if I don't end up finishing the granny square blanket, that's totally okay. But I wanted to continue to kind of update you on the progress. So right now, let's see, I have, and I have not even tallied this at this point. Here's the 3 yarns that I'm using. So they all go nicely together. And my husband actually helped to select those. I had another color in mind, and he's like, no, I like these better. So I currently have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 granny squares. I have a long way to go. But again, I'm not like, this is not a, oh my gosh, I have to finish this tomorrow kind of project. It's just something that I want to work on whenever I get bored doing what I'm already doing. And I just need something that's mindless. And yeah, so if and when I finish that, it will be my very first blanket. I have not crocheted a blanket as of yet. Now, the projects that I have that I need to do a lot of cutting, like the granny squares, I like to keep the scissors with the project, because otherwise I can never find my scissors. They're just always, I don't know, they're always missing. And I like to keep a hook with it too if I'm actively doing it. And if not, at least put a little note in there to say what kind of hook, what size hook, and have all of the details so that it's good to go. But having the hook and the this way, it's like, hey, I'm good. I can just grab this and run. Now, if I have an organza bag for it, perfect. Yeah, thanks. I did not, but it's okay. I'm also sort of slowly working on the crochet popcorn still. Haven't made a lot of progress. Again, it's kind of one of those that this is a great project that I just kind of grab and go when I'm going to a doctor's appointment. I don't want something that's going to be, big and obnoxious, because this is just a handy little, make a few and then go, and it's nice and simple. So my crochet popcorn garland is going to be ever growing over the years, and I'm not going to try and get it all done in 1 year. Just as I add more strands, beautiful. So maybe I'll start adding tags to each year that says what year I completed that strand. That might be a fun idea. Just like a little wooden tag with the year on it. It's a good idea. Okay. And then, because I was kind of my hands were getting a little sore using the cotton yarn, I started a new project. And this is a pattern by Jan Crochet. It's called the Mystical Tee. And I really love the way that it's got a little bit of a texture to it. And she used it kind of a solid yarn, and I'm not sure which side is front facing, but if you can see it here, it's got just a little bit of a texture in there, and it's kind of just made as 2 pieces. So, you do the front, and then you do the back, and then you seam them together. Oops, sorry. And then you seam them together. And this yarn is the Lava Party Chroma. It's Chroma. And this yarn is the Chroma Lava Party. Chroma fingering. Thanks. Thanks, Farah. I appreciate that. This is what it looks like when it's not wound up yet. And I saw this. I bought it in the Thanksgiving Black Friday sales, and I think it is so pretty, and it is going to make the perfect spring Easter top. We don't get like really fancy Easter dresses. We don't do that here. for my family, but I did want to have something that felt a little Eastery. And I mean, it's called Lava Party, but it certainly could be called Easter Parade. The only thing missing is the green. I mean, I just think this is such a beautiful, beautiful, and look at the way that this is working up. Oh, it's gorgeous. So, so, so pretty. I'm so happy with this. I am very much going to enjoy this top. So that's it for kind of the whips. And one other thing that I'm working on right now, I'm almost afraid to show you. Okay, so what this is, my mother-in-law was making a cowl for me that she started before I learned to crochet. And she was using this yarn and another yarn. And she got so frustrated with the project. And since I'm now crocheting anyway, she said, here, have the yarn and do with it what you want. This is about $35 a skein. It is kind of a fancy type of yarn that, you know, it's got the little balls, and it's definitely a specialty yarn, and it is very lovely, but it's also a mess. And it's next to impossible to detangle. So this is an ongoing project because I'm not having a lot of patience for detangling this right now. So this is one end, this is the other end, and I mean, it's just, yeah. Thanks, Farah. It's very challenging. So I'll just kind of keep plugging away on that and let you know how it's going, and we'll see. But I do have one more thing that I wanted to share with you today. So I was going to make a video on great things that you can buy at the Dollar Tree for crochet. And the recording just did not go well. I was just like, it just wasn't a pretty recording. But one of the things that I did manage to pick up is this garden tote. And no, it wasn't $1.25. It was actually $5. But oh my gosh, this is like perfect for taking to my weekly crochet group. I can throw my projects in here. It's got pockets for, you know, my scissors and my tape measure. And I have everything in these side pockets instead of kind of stuck down in the bottom of the bag. And so, I mean, this can hold 2 or 3 projects that I want to take with me. So I think this is perfect. If you're doing something like the blanket and you want to have this just as the project bag, you could actually probably stuff a skein of different colors in each of these pockets. And then, you know, these, you know, kind of pull it through to kind of keep it. I just think this is a great idea for a fun crochet bag. Now it comes in different patterns. I'm generally not a really florally kind of person, so I went with the palm tree leaves motif, and I think this just works perfectly for what I need. So that is what I have on that. Now let me grab my project. All right, Farah, so what do we have to talk about today? Joann's, yes, Joann's fabric and Michael's and the state of hobbies and that kind of thing. It feels a little bit like there's a lot of doomsday scenarios going on. I will, you know, I'll be the first to admit that when I first started crocheting, I could not buy yarn online. And I thought that I had to go into the store to see the colors, to feel the yarn, and to get a good sense of what was going on. And what I realized over time was that there are definitely some great options for online shopping for various crafts and things. So even if Joann's is the only game in town and they are closing their doors, that's okay. There are alternatives. Even if you don't like Hobby Lobby and that's the only other alternative for you, there are alternatives online. Let's just talk about how can we really expand what it is that we our experience and let go of some of the limiting beliefs that are holding us back and making us think that now that our local yarn stores are closing down, we're never going to be able to crochet again. That's just, it really is a limiting belief. And so I'm here to kind of give you some of my maybe grandmotherly advice and say, look, it's only a limiting belief if you choose to let it be a limiting belief. How you choose to look at where you get things for your crochet hobby is a choice. You can look at the closing of Joann's as being the end of the world, or you can look at it as an opportunity to explore new avenues and kind of break out of your comfort zone of what you've known and trusted for maybe many years and see what else might be available. Now, there's a good chance that you are going to make some mistakes when you first start buying in different ways, like online. That's okay. Allow yourself to make those mistakes. If you spend a little bit of money that you are like, oh my gosh, I'm on a budget, I can't afford to make mistakes, then make sure that you're buying from stores that have return policies, or look at doing like buying some yarn from secondhand stores, or online from independent individuals and saying, hey, maybe we can do a yarn exchange. I have some extra of this yarn and I really would love to try that yarn. Explore some different things and just try those out and see what works for you. Think outside the box is kind of what I'm trying to share with you. Hopefully it gives you an opportunity to explore some different ideas, explore some different yarns. Don't be afraid to buy yarns, and just kind of see what's out there. Have some fun with it. You might find something that you never thought you would use, or, oh, I just had not a thought. I'm a chronic migraine sufferer. I don't know if you know that about me. I get migraines fewer than I used to, but still more than I'd like. And every now and the last couple of days, I've just had that just low grade. It's just constantly there. In fact, I did have to take some medicine for it. But it's one of the things that I actually really enjoy about crochet is if it's a mindless project, oftentimes it's one of the few things that I can actively do while I am crocheting, because I can be in a position that doesn't aggravate my head. I can, fortunately, the light doesn't usually bother me. Only if it's really, really bad does it bother me. But I don't have to think. I don't have to process information. My eyes aren't moving a lot because usually they're just right here. So they're not going up and down or side by side like if I was reading. So it is one of the few things that I can actually do when I have a migraine that is not substantial. Now, if I have a substantial one, it's dark room, lights off, no sound. Leave me alone for at least 24 hours. And that's okay. So, yeah. That's my kind of thought on that. Just don't be afraid of Joann's closing. it's an opportunity. Look at it, choose to look at it as an opportunity and not a bad thing. I mean, yes, we absolutely feel bad for all of the employees, and it is going to make some things a little bit different than what we're used to. And I want to use that term, different, instead of harder, because harder, different is only hard until it's not. And then it's not even different. It's just the way it is now. I mean, have you ever bought a new pair of shoes that you had to wear for a little while to get them broken in? They were super uncomfortable when you first bought them, but after wearing them for several hours over a few occasions, they got to be your favorites. Or, ooh, jeans. This is the case with me. Every time I wash a pair of jeans, I then put them on and I'm like, these things shrunk like crazy. They don't fit me the way they did before I washed them. But after I've worn them a couple of times, then they're back to being my comfy favorite jeans. Maybe I should just stop washing my jeans. Okay, I won't do that. But you get the idea. Things have a tendency to break in over time. And that's not going to be any different with changing your shopping habits. So give it some time to break in, figure out what that new normal looks like for you, and then embrace the idea. And it's all going to be okay. It's a new experience that may actually lead to some amazing things for you. And as I kind of wrap up these two t-shirts, which I'm pretty sure, well, this one for sure I will be finished with by the end of March, absolutely positively, no doubt. I think it'll take me about another week to a week and a half. And the Easter shirt, my goal is definitely to have that one, since it's called the Easter shirt, by Easter. And I'm thinking that I'll have that by maybe the first week in April. So then I have to start looking at what am I going to do for my April makes. And I keep seeing a couple of patterns come up, but I also really want to experiment with that idea. So maybe that'll be part of the plan. We'll have to see. Very well. All right. Let me know what your plans for the rest of the month are and how things are going. And we will talk again very soon. Bye.